belated Thanksgiving, everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, November 27th, 2022. In the spirit of the grand Abbott Thanksgiving dining room table, I feel as though I should ask myself what I am most grateful for this year. And I think what I'm most grateful for is Daniel! Daniel! I'll have a second helping of that. Oh, he is hot and steamy, all rolled up, shoved up into a turkey, and served to us on a platter this year. Thank you, Y&R. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas. All in one. Oh, I don't even know what we did to deserve this. We must have been extra good this year, because I honestly thought he was only going to be in and out of Genoa City for maybe a couple of episodes, but it's starting to look like he has a story with Lily. Ooh! Did you see how fast Lily's face turned from sad pucker sourpuss lips when Billy walked out on their dinner to go see Chelsea to when her face turned around and lit up with happiness when she saw Daniel for the first time again? It was like, oh, ding, 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 ding! Ex-husband turned new boyfriend. Let me get a hug. Can I get a hug? And let's reminisce, shall we? Do you remember the time when we ran away together and we had to get jobs dressed as fruit? Daniel had to dress up like an itchy banana. Lily itched Daniel's banana. Yeah, that's right. I said it. She itched his banana and she'd like to itch it again. Oh, all those feelings just flooding back up from nowhere. Yes. Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, too. I really love the idea of rebooting what was a teen romance to now find each other again as adults. And he is so, he's like Johnny Depp level ungodly hot. He is so sexy. And I can really see he and Lily hooking up right now. I think that would be smoking. And in the previews, he was telling Summer that he's thinking about getting a job at Chancellor Winters. I don't know what he'd be doing, but gee, Lily does need a COO right now. She's got a little spot to fill. She's got a couple spots to fill. Look out, Billy. Look out. I kind of think Lily might be thinking, well, two can play at this game. The second that Billy walked in from walking out on their dinner date to go check on Chelsea, I think Lily was realizing that it made Billy a little bit jealous, and I think she liked it. I could see Lily having the light bulb go off, thinking, oh, well, this is what will get Billy's attention. And maybe in the process, she'll realize that there's a lot to catch up with Daniel on. And I'm really, really hoping that he stays around long term. I do not want him to banana split. Billy invited Chelsea to Thanksgiving. Yeah, because being awkward around people is what Thanksgiving's all about. So that makes perfect sense to me. Oh, the look on Lily's face She has a lot of looks on her face right now, but the look on her face when Billy proposed bringing Chelsea to Thanksgiving, she took a minute and she said, why don't we just play it by ear? And then he turned around and invited Chelsea anyway without confirming with Lily. He invited Chelsea to Thanksgiving at Lily's brother's house. I know he's just trying to be friendly. I totally understand why Billy is holding on so tightly to Chelsea right now. They went through something traumatic together, and their traumas were different, but they were a part of the same incident, and I think that it was really hard for both of them, not just for Chelsea, but for both of them. And for Billy, Chelsea's probably the only one who can understand that. I think continuing to reach out to Chelsea, continuing to perhaps hover over Chelsea is his way of resolving it for himself, maybe. But he's not really turning to the other people in his life. Lily has definitely chastised him a little bit for why he's not leaning on her more. We can, see it, that she's wondering, why can't he just let Chelsea be? He did his part. Chelsea has other people. She has Adam. She has Sharon. She has her therapist. She has Connor. Let's take a step back from this now. She doesn't want Billy getting in too deep on this. And I do understand her point, too. I think she is, well, first of all, I do think she's looking out for Billy, but I think she also feels like now there's a third person in her relationship, and she's having to compete for top priority. I mean, as soon as Chelsea calls or Chelsea needs something, he's flying out the door to be there for her, which he's been doing since before her suicide attempt. And I guess maybe it's just that Lily is so self-sufficient. She's so together. She doesn't really need him. She more wants him. And perhaps this is also Billy feeling like he is needed. And maybe he is. I mean, or maybe not. I mean, Chelsea seems to be doing so well right now. She has a lot of people around her providing support. She decided to come downstairs with Connor this Thanksgiving to participate in the annual Crimson Lights Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless, and she was welcomed with absolutely open arms. Lily, in fact, approached her and said that, I didn't know, but now I know, and I'm so glad that you're doing better. But the subtext is, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hand my boyfriend over to you, okay? I mean, and I don't think that's what Chelsea's necessarily going for. I think Chelsea is focused on her recovery, and things are totally looking up. The most interesting part of the Crimson Lights Thanksgiving maybe was what happened between Chelsea and Johnny. Connor told Johnny what had happened with Chelsea, that Chelsea had become so depressed that she was hospitalized. And Johnny, what a good boy. What a good boy. He realized, he empathized with hearing that and Chelsea and realized what he had done, and like Connor, worried that he had played a role in it. And Johnny said, I acted so mean toward her, and, I feel so bad about that. So he actually initiated going over to sit with Chelsea, to talk with Chelsea, and ultimately to make friends with her. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. It can just be friends. And that's so nice. It's really so ideal. I mean, everything in Chelsea's life got so much better immediately after her suicide attempt, in an almost unrealistic way. I think it's heartwarming and it's a good message, but I mean, in reality, please don't anyone try to kill themselves and think there aren't going to be any consequences with the people around them. You know, I mean, everybody definitely is, you know, in this fictional world is embracing Chelsea, but in reality, I feel like this would have created more tension with some of the people around her, specifically with Victoria. I would have expected for this to have created more tension with Victoria, not less. And that's what it seems like on screen so far. Or maybe that's just temporary. Do you guys think that Victoria and Chelsea are going to end up going head to head over this? Or is the Johnny issue put to bed for now? Victoria's reaction to it all seemed unnaturally subdued, unnaturally cool for Victoria. Again, and I just don't think that's totally realistic. And I don't think that Victoria is going to back off forever. I think that if, you know, she did seem to have a little bit of, I'm not sure about this. But I could see Victoria backing off like for a week, giving it a week to breathe. And I just imagine that the problems are going to pick up right where they left off. Or maybe Victoria has more pressing business on her mind altogether. Victoria did not need Nate to stay late at the office just to recap his first day of work. Because while they were sitting there chatting and sipping expensive scotch, Elena was sitting alone at a table at Society with a bottle of champagne, celebratory champagne, for his first day. She was waiting to congratulate him and support him, and she's chosen to forgive and forget and try to repair their relationship and move forward. She even stopped by Nate's new office to give him a gift. It was a picture of them together that he can sit on his desk facing out so that Victoria can see it every time she stops by. I think Elena was marking her territory more than giving Nate that gift. That being said, I did enjoy the conversation with Victoria and Nate. I thought it was very good. I loved listening to Victoria talk about how she worked her way up from the mailroom back when there used to be a big mailroom. I just like that idea, that visual. And she talked a little bit about the way that she moved up through the company, understanding that she received her CEO title because of her last name, but she was very much also asserting her qualifications for it. She has what Nate wants, right? Victoria has the thing that Nate desires: success. Only it seems like Nate has shown that he's not really willing to be patient to get it. He was ready to sell his family down the river because he wasn't being valued and promoted and treated like leadership after only working for that company for a month or two. So I think Nate is impatient to get the success that he craves, and I think that he's totally gonna sleep with Victoria. Not necessarily to get more power, but because I think he is allured by her power and her success and, yeah, her beauty. My question for you this week is, do you think that Nate and Victoria make a good match? That's our poll at yrchat.com. If you want to vote and let me know if you think that Victoria and Nate make a good hot pairing, or if you think this is just a total mismatch. I'm actually all for it. I mean, I think that Victoria and Nate would be super hot together. I actually am just realizing right now, though, that there may be a new rivalry that has emerged from my heart. Nate versus Daniel for my affection. I don't know who I would pick. Who will be my Christmas date this year? Oh, who am I kidding? I have room for both at my table. Tucker took it upon himself to tell Nate off in public when everybody ran into each other at society. Devon was having like a pre-Thanksgiving meal with Tucker, and Nate was having a makeup dinner with Elena for saying sorry for missing the other night. Ugh, Elena, this is just a preview. He's going to be missing a lot of things, a lot of events, a lot of dinners. He's going to be coming home late a lot. Oh. But Nate walked up to Devon's table, trying to be cordial, and Tucker just launched into him. Tucker just sat there, bold-faced, ripping into Nate for betraying Devon, just waiting, well, he's waiting for the right time to do the exact same task that Nate failed to accomplish. What a hypocrite! There are many of them in this town, but this is a great example. Ripping into Nate for doing the thing that he's doing right now? Nate just didn't accomplish it. Tucker's still trying. He wants that company. Devon was like, thanks, Dad, but I don't need you to fight my battles. And then at the other table, Elena was like, well, who does Tucker think he is? I really liked seeing Elena getting a little riled up over it. I kind of wanted to see her go over there and outclass Tucker McCall. That's what I would like to see. I like Elena a lot. I think Elena has a good heart, and I think she does really want to help mend the family. But I also think that as soon as word leaks out about the affair between Abby and Devon, that Nate is, when he finds out, probably going to get very indignant. And I think that Elena will probably find herself supporting Devon, empathizing with Devon, and to Nate, maybe defending Devon. I just kind of feel like maybe when that secret comes out, which is what we're all waiting for, that it's probably going to end up being a wedge between Nate and Elena somehow. Well, Devon conveniently showed up at Abby's restaurant this week, and she told Devon that Chance has already moved out. He's just gone. He only even ever comes by now when he knows that she's not going to be there. Which actually means that, maybe Devon should just feel free to come on over to the Chancellor house now and take the Chancellor's staircase for a ride. Happy Thanksgiving to and from the Abbott family. Aww, that table all trimmed out. Oh, Tracy has outdone herself this year with the dried orange peels on every plate. What in the hell are you supposed to do with that dried orange peel? Brush it off the plate to make room for the food. That's what. Oh, it just gives me the warm and fuzzies. I love Jack getting all sentimental with his toast. And I loved his comment that having John and Dina's great-grandchildren there was a sign of a growing family. Except I've heard that Allie's being moved to recurring status along with Noah, so I don't know how much we're going to be seeing of her in the future. And then the other grandchild, Harrison, is a little bit of a hit or miss for me. He's sort of cute and annoying. all at once, which is very much what all kids are like, cute and annoying. So I don't know if this Abbott family is really going to be growing. It seems that they're being torn apart on a lot of things. Ashley was all in a tizzy this Thanksgiving, sweeping around the mansion on her broomstick, giving mad sister-in-law vibes. Oh yeah, she did not want Jack's future wife Diane to be there, in that house, at that table, or even on this planet for that matter. Oh, it's entertaining though. She told Tucker that she wants to bring Diane down, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's nothing that you haven't said before. My question is, why, Ashley, are you confiding in Tucker? Why is Tucker an ally now? I feel like she's letting him inside of her head when he's the real threat here, not Diane. Diane said that. I mean, they've no reason to believe it, I suppose, other than the fact that she really hasn't done much since she's come back to the town. We've seen Tucker being pretty underhanded. We haven't really seen that out of Diane, but Diane told Jack and Ashley that she plans to be an ally for them against Tucker, although she wants me to sound like she was going to try to go undercover with Tucker, which makes no sense because Tucker is not going to trust her. He's not going to let her in on any information. He's just going to use her too. I don't understand Tucker's grand plan here. I'm going to need Tucker to pony up. He's been spending a lot of time casually twirling his mustache, drinking his expensive aged scotch out of the mini bar, and saying he's got plans. But I'm going to need to see him do something, maybe villainous. Otherwise, I'm just going to call it all talk and no action, and I'm going to end up losing interest. I want to know, how exactly do you plan to get Jabot away from the Abbotts, Tucker McCall? Let's get to it. Is Jabot publicly traded? Do you own some secret stocks? Do you have some kind of long-lost letter from John? Are you working with chemo behind the scenes? Out with it already. No grandbabies for Sharon anytime soon. Not from Noah and not from Mariah. The girls broke the bad news to Sharon this week that their potential adoption had fallen through, which is a totally crushing defeat because they were so close. And I think that's very normal for what ends up happening with adoption and fostering in a lot of those situations. You get so close and then you end up having it yanked out from under you. That said, it sounds like the girl couldn't have been more nice about it. The mom just decided that she wanted to give her baby to her cousin instead. I guess the cousin was like, fine, I'll take it. It's kind of a bummer. That tack house is going to be so big and empty now. I don't know. I keep wondering, when are Mariah and Tessa going to put insemination back onto the table? It seems like now would be a good time to start exploring that route. Or maybe Christine will pop up in the coming weeks and bring Mariah and Tessa a Christmas miracle. I could really see that happening. And that would be a really good Christmas present for Sharon, too. It was nice to see her a lot this week. She was doing a lot of supporting on Thanksgiving week. But she was specifically spending a lot of time with Noah, and I really appreciated those scenes. I think that Noah needed his mom, even if he didn't realize that he needed his mom. The whole situation with Audra has been very hard for him. It has hit him perhaps harder than he realized. And now I think Noah's just walking around with a bunch of unresolved feelings that have gotten all stirred up, and he doesn't know what to do about it. But Sharon steered away from giving Noah any grand advice. She was just simply reassuring, and I thought that was simply perfect. She had actually initiated the conversation with Noah to talk about how it was for him when she was going through her hard period before she was diagnosed with the bipolar disorder and got on the medication that she needed and went through her therapy. And I just thought that even that was so very brave of Sharon, taking the initiative to circle back to her own painful past and making the choice to try to face how her instability had affected the people around her. That's not an easy thing to do. Looking into that deep, dark, truthful mirror is not an easy thing to do. But Sharon is willing to do it. She was willing to have the grit to do it. And I think that Sharon is a really good example of someone who has been inside of that dark tunnel and who has just felt encompassed by that darkness, but was able to make it to the light. In that way, she is the flip side of the coin of depression. Sharon is the success story. Sharon is the example, the bright shining star to which Chelsea should look. You know what's really annoying? When I'm trying to propose to someone and her boyfriend is standing guard in the background. Ugh! Get away! Can't you see I'm trying to propose here? Actually, Gary made a point to me last week that Adam's snarkiness toward Nick and Sally actually is quite becoming of him. And I'm starting to see that point because Adam sending wine over to Nick and Sally's table while they were on their date was pretty darn good. Because Nick and Sally were like, we didn't order this. And then they turned around and Adam was just sitting there giving a big sarcastic smile and raising his glass. I liked that. And gosh, Sally looked so good in chartreuse. I love chartreuse and it just goes so good with red hair. And the dress had those belly slits in it. And her abs were all perfect. And then my abs were like, let's eat. Her abs were peekabooing through there with all their perfection. And my abs were like, stuffing. The stuffing's my favorite. Give me bread. I don't know what's come over Adam. He's gone wild. He kind of grabbed her arm, which made Nick come barreling over, and the whole thing ended. The whole marriage proposal just ended, and the Nick and Sally went upstairs to her hotel room, and she told Nick how much she likes what they've got going on together. I don't know, is she just trying to convince herself that Nick is the better choice because Adam's the more dangerous choice? Because she always gives in. When Nick left, she had a knock at the door. It probably was like a rat tattle tattle tat drunk knock, and she knew darn well who it was, and she opened up the door, and sure enough, it was Adam standing there drunk to again plead his case with her. And this was another instance where I actually did enjoy watching Adam because he was so intense and passionate and a little bit sloppy, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun to see that you can tell Mark Grossman has a sense of humor, and I like when that it was able to come out a little bit in his drunkenness, but also he was so sincere. And I have no doubt that Adam is sincere in everything that he's saying to Sally, but Sally isn't budging. I just don't know how much more he can try. He called her complicated, like a wildfire. And I thought that was very romantic and sexy and perhaps true. Wildfire. Yeah, that's really good for like the girl with red hair. I thought that was a well-written line. Yeah, I don't know. Adam, again, accused Sally of only being with Nick for the sex, which tells me that Adam is just imagining all the good sex that they're having together. But he also said, I know you're with Nick just to make me jealous. And she sure did not deny it, but even though she got offended, she always ends up kind of getting offended by it. She didn't deny it, but she also got offended. And it's the same thing that happened when they were on the rooftop together. She does not appreciate him questioning her relationship with Nick. And yet, she always entertains what Adam has to say. I mean, she was on a date with Nick, and she took a sideline with Adam for a marriage proposal. Optimism is the lifeblood of success. You gotta stay optimistic to get success. Well, that was last week's Who Said It quote, and the answer was Tucker McCall. He was talking with Audra about his Chancellor Winter's takeover plan, and she was questioning him all of a sudden, and he saying, you're pretty optimistic for someone who's not really pulling it off. And he said, well, optimism is the lifeblood of success. Not very many people guessed that one. It was pretty tough, but extra big congratulations to Daisy, Henry, Tanya, Ron, and Deedles. You guys got it right, and I've got another hard one for you this week. I just didn't, there's only 3 episodes, so I didn't have a ton to choose from. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to go with this one because this is the only person who mentioned Christmas on Thanksgiving week. The quote is, "There's always Christmas." Who said that? There's always Christmas. I just think it's like not allowed to be Christmas until the day after Thanksgiving. I can't think about Christmas until the day after Thanksgiving. And so I was kind of there with this quote. Like, okay, we're coming to the end of Thanksgiving and now we all must launch into Christmas mode. But not before Thanksgiving meal is over. If you think you know who said there's always Christmas, you can go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. All right, well, I've got quite a few comments here to read. Since we had a short week, I figure I'll just read some comments, starting with Diana, who says, Adam is coming off a little too desperate now, and that is not going to win back Sally's heart. I think he's a little too late. Adam can't expect people's feelings to be turned off and on like a light switch. Sally's reaction to Adam's proposal and attitude toward him seems realistic. Adam hurt Sally deeply, and now Sally has moved on to bigger and better things. I would like to see Adam with Sharon. They would have so much chemistry. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like Sally has just moved on. T. Nicole says, Adam, if you're going to talk to Sally, please just keep your speech at how much you love her, how sorry you are, and how you want the best for her and how she makes you feel. Do not bring up Nick to her. Do not talk about being with Nick. It's a mistake. Do not talk about how being with Nick is a mistake and how they're using each other. Those words will never win her over. It will make her want to be defensive and prove you wrong by being with Nick. I love you and Sally together, but every time you bring up Nick, it goes downhill and I cringe. Yeah, it's not helping his case to question her and her relationship choice. It may be true. He may be completely right, but it's not winning anybody over. And Sue W. says, Adam might do better with the disinterest/acceptance approach and go on about his life with all appearance of resignation to never winning Sally back. Maybe the absence of eternal love will make her heart grow fonder, and she'll want him more when he doesn't want her. It may get to the point where Adam really doesn't. Getting her back may become more of the issue than the actual event. Then she'll want him back when he's moved on. Sally cycle in that vicious circle drama again and forever, never being on the same page at the same time, but that's a standard soapy possibility. Yeah, it kind of is. It is almost like he wants her now that she can't have her, and then maybe by the time she realizes that she wants him back, he's already moved on, and then you just get that cycle. Oh, but Ron says the newest cringe-worthy moments are Sally and Nick growing closer. I can't help thinking about the age gap. And Dolores says, yes, it's a relationship. I just don't understand why it continues. It just seems that Nick always wants to be involved with the women that have been with Adam after their times together. Well, you know, the age gap is so noticeable to me too, and normally it's not. I don't even know why my brain is picking up on that. And the only thing I can figure is just that Sally's so close to Summer's age, and sometimes when Nick looks at Sally, I'm thinking, oh, he gives that exact same look to Summer. Adam and Sally are closer in age, and maybe it's also that visually I keep seeing too. Well, different topic. Victoria says it was good to see Tessa and Mariah on my screen today. They're always there to lend a helping hand. Here's hoping they get better news in the new year. A baby for them. And a new romance for Mom. Yeah, Sharon never seems to have trouble finding the new romance, so I'm sure that will happen. But Sherrod says, since the wedding, Taraya have lost their screen time, Tessa's voice, Tessa's music, their sisters, their home, and of course, there will never be a baby. Oh, Sherrod thinks we're not ever going to get the baby, but I also have to say, I really like your point about Tessa's voice and music. That just totally slipped away. There's so very little attention paid to that. I mean, Tessa's voice is her life. It's her career. And it just went away. We didn't really get a whole lot of follow-up on it. She had the vocal nodes removed, and then she came back, and she's still taking it easy. But, the last couple times they've been on screen, we really haven't heard anything about that at all. And then there's all the other things. But I still think there's going to be a baby. I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be a Christmas baby with a big red bow on it. But maybe that's just me and my optimism. It is the lifeblood of success, you know. According to Tucker McCall. Well, T. Nicole on another topic says, Billy needs to stop putting Adam down in front of Chelsea. After she told him about the conversation she and Adam had with Connor about what happened to her, Billy just had to say something along the lines of, I'm sure Adam being there made it worse. Why would you say that? That comment helps no one, and it's obvious that Connor loves his dad. And his dad, Adam, loves Connor and just wants the best for him. I think Billy will become more dependent on Chelsea than Chelsea will need Billy. Oh, that's a great comment, T. Nicole. That's a pretty good prediction. And also, I love that you say that comment helps no one. Yeah, it doesn't. And also, that's Connor's dad. If you really want to support Chelsea, maybe you should bring positivity instead of your hatred of Adam. I mean, everybody knows it. It's been said. You don't need to keep saying it. And also, this isn't about you in that moment. You know, you were calling to check on her. You were asking how the conversation with Connor went. That wasn't supposed to be about you. Southside Granny says, even though Billy harbors out of control hate for Adam, I think he's jealous of him too. Billy wants control of Chelsea's life. Oh, I think you're right that he is jealous of him a little bit. I don't know if he wants control of Chelsea's life. I just think Billy doesn't know what to do with himself. And I think maybe he's finding that helping others is something that makes him feel good. And also they just went through this trauma together. I don't know if he's doing it out of seeking control, but it's certainly a possibility. Laura says, I didn't like Connor being alone in the apartment while Chelsea and Adam met up at Crimson. You know, I thought that too, Laura. When she said Connor's sleeping upstairs, I was like, what? You just left him in this new apartment the first night he's sleeping there? I don't know if you're supposed to leave. I think well, it depends on the state, but I think, not that I've looked it up to figure out when I can just leave the house when I want to and my daughter can stay here. But I think it's by state, and I think in Illinois it has to be like age 14. And I was like, 14? Pretty sure I stayed home alone at not 14. A little younger than 14. But speaking of Connor, last week I asked you guys, do you think that Chelsea should have talked about suicide with Connor right now? I'm kind of surprised. 58% of you voted no. You don't think it was appropriate for Chelsea to talk to Connor about suicide. 42% of you voted yes. But Tony says, well, he's old enough, and at his age, how old is he? I voted no. They just a minute ago told him a truth that he wasn't ready to absorb and process. Maybe get well, Chelsea, and then tell him why you'd been away. Did you tell him that you poisoned Ray on purpose? The tell-all approach seems recent and forced. And Sue W. responds, great point about the Ray incident. Selective full disclosure is an oxymoron. Chelsea doesn't want to lie to Connor, but simply pick the truths to share. Oh, dang, that's a good point. She didn't tell him about Ray, but now she feels she has to tell him everything. Oh, you guys are good. Henry, though, voted that yes, Chelsea needed to have this conversation with Connor. Henry says, my vote was yes. Chelsea was following the suggestions from her doctor, the professionals. This made the storyline very mature and more realistic, if you will. Opinions are like elbows. Everyone has one, to coin a phrase. Chelsea was told by the doctor how to approach the situation and what language to use in doing so. I can speak from personal experience that when you follow the instruction of the professionals, you truly have peace of mind. In my life, my mom was my professional in a sense. Following her advice truly made a difference in my life. R.I.P. Mom. Again, kudos to Judah Mackey / Connor. He is truly great in that storyline, and the writers really deserve much credit for their approach to this serious storyline. And as a lot of our chatters have said, Chelsea, Melissa Claire Egan, is phenomenal in this storyline. That is a pretty good. That's a pretty good point. I think it just happened to be that I sort of disagreed with the professional advice. As a pretend soap opera therapist, I disagree. But you're right. I think having the therapist or professional validate what you're doing would bring you peace of mind. Having someone you trust, as you said, your mom, whether it's anybody in your life who you trust, who you respect. Not that you have to seek approval from these people for everything that you do, but it's helpful to have that bit of a guiding star. That's your rock, so to speak. And Chelsea did what the rocks told her to do. Marianne V says, I voted yes also. It's a good idea for Chelsea and Adam to tell Connor. He is old enough to understand. I don't think Chelsea needs to go into detail telling him she almost jumped off the roof, but telling him how serious being depressed is important. Answering all his questions is important too, in the words that he will understand. He even read about suicide online. Unalive yourself is what I think he said. He'll help Chelsea understand. He will help Chelsea with her emotions, and Y&R did a great job with this storyline, and the acting has been superb all around. That's the one thing that everybody has said, is that the acting has been superb all around, and that for sure is true. Ellen says Connor showed a need for the truth. Kids know about very adult topics way too young, but it's much better if they feel they can talk to their parents openly. If a secret's being kept from them, it will create mistrust sooner or later. Yeah, I've thought that too about my own daughter, just that I'm not always going to be able to influence her decisions, but that I just need to make sure that the relationship that I cultivate now is one where she feels she can talk to me when she's ready. As I said, I would not have told a 10-year-old But I would have tried to be sensitive to when I felt that maybe my child was going through a depression, and having, and to cultivate the relationship of being ready to listen to the child and hear what the child has to say, and, offer advice when appropriate and relevant. New topic, though. Laura says, well, that was funny when Devon said he doesn't lunch with traitors. Being treacherous at work is a no-no, but being treacherous in a relationship is a yes. I like that. Yeah, there's a nice little bit of hypocrisy there. But Laura also says, Tucker is my #1 favorite now because he went after Nate. You leave my baby boy alone, he said. Oh, Dolores said, I too am finding myself loving me some Tucker. Not because of his past encounter with Nate, but overall his mystique that he carries as he moves around GC and the supposed threat that he may be to the Newman and Abbott families. In my humble opinion, he is the Loch Ness Monster that was meant to shake things up in Genoa City. He demonstrates a lot of confidence, conviction, and certainty. Look out, everyone. The best, or worst, is coming. That's good. And Daisy says, well, Tucker may want to seek revenge on those who betrayed him, but he's also a manipulator. So Tucker may have had a hidden plan that he can't put into motion if all eyes are on him. He could have set the stage for Jack and Ashley to blame Diane so the family will be fighting, and has Diane additionally worried that Jeremy Stark will show up? And with that, Tucker takes the attention away from himself so that no one will see he does have his eyes set on Chancellor Winters, guessed by some who know him. He wants his mother's company, hook, line, and sinker. Jill will be furious. Of course, Tucker still has not learned that Victor knows everything, nor will Tucker see him coming when Victor takes measures to protect his friend's company, even if it's from her own son. This just occurred to me, too. We really haven't had any interaction between Jill and Tucker. And Jill, I think, is the first one who was involved with Tucker. So I always make that connection in my mind. But yeah, Jill she sort of rolled her eyes at the idea, I think, that Tucker was back. But we didn't see them interacting at all, even though she was in town a little bit ago. But yes. To all, I think you're right that probably what Tucker is doing is throwing up a lot of smoke bombs so that nobody notices what he's really up to. But I still don't understand how he plans to get Jabot. I mean, we can see he had Audra on the inside. He had a plan to get the shares of Chancellor Winters. We know what his plan was there. But how is he going to get control of Jabot? I don't see the opening. Naomi says, run, Nate, run! Victoria is being extra pleasant to you, and this can only mean that you will be her next victim. I don't understand her angle at all. Does she really want a good-looking executive, or is her interest strictly business? I don't know, but Laura says, I'm not used to seeing Victoria smile this much. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, she sure was doing a lot of big, cheesy smiles. But Sue W. says, Amelia H. is so vivacious and pretty. We don't get to see that much in Victoria's character. If Victoria starts to lighten up with Nate beyond what one chatter maybe described as fangirling, then I am all for a more happy and fun Victoria who has no agenda but that. Oh yes, Victoria has no agenda but fun and having some fun and smiling with somebody. Yeah, that's a really good point. I love this from Ellen, who says, wrong, Victoria. You spent one summer playing footsie with that boy Ryan in the mailroom. Then you disappeared to Europe to get an art degree and fell in love with paintings and such. Then you came back and Daddy married your new best European college friend. What was her name? Sabrina. Then you started working at Newman, pretty close to the top, under your father's thumb, and you have toiled away there ever since. So no, you haven't worked your way up from the bottom. That's a myth, aka a lie. Just own that you've been given the top spot and hold on tight, because Daddy would have given it to Nick or Adam if the circumstances had allowed. Turns out you are the most like him, though. Congratulations, I suppose. Oh, snap! That is good. That is, wow. You totally just told Victoria off. And the fact that you called Ryan, that boy Ryan, shows that you've been watching. So you get points for that. You get points for the full recap of Victoria's true work history at Newman Enterprises, not the fairy tale that I totally bought into as she was talking with Nate. Of course, her version just sounds so much better, but, or maybe not. That was pretty good. Well, on to one of my new favorite topics. Diana says it's awesome seeing Daniel. It's also apparent that Daniel and Heather are not together anymore. You could see the expression on Daniel's face and hear the expression in his voice when he was talking about Heather and Lucy. This storyline will allow Daniel to be single and available to Lily. Ooh, yes. I know, at first it was like, okay, he's acting like he's still with Heather, but then Phyllis was able to pull that out of him, that there was some problems in the relationship, and oh, he's so cute. He did such a great job of listening. He's a good example of, like Lily, being a good listener and a good reactor. I mean, and Phyllis was just going off all around him, and sometimes he would just smile or look at her, and he has a really good non-verbal performance, similar to Lily. Well, new topic. Gary says, so Ellen, what did you think of Jack's sapped out Thanksgiving toast this year? I gave it high marks as it was all somewhat short and sweet. Diane, too, kept it simple, wisely avoiding repeating the toast that she gave at Kyle and Summer's wedding that she basically says every day. Diane said she was grateful for Kyle and Harrison and allowed things to move on. Very nice dinner. The table settings looked a little low-key for Y&R. No tablecloth, just letting the wood shine through, but place cards. And orange rinds. Don't forget the dried orange rinds. You know, one thing about Diane's speech there is, did you notice that she said she was grateful for Kyle and Harrison? She did not mention Summer. She went right for what she really cares about. No need to bury the lead there. Oh, Sherrod theorizes, I have a feeling that one, if not all three of those women may become frustrated that Diane doesn't leave and will kill her for real this time. Ooh, so you think that either Ashley, Nikki, or Phyllis may just become so infuriated by Diane that they actually do kill her. I love that as a plot theory, but I would be so sad. We just got Susan Walters. I'm loving Diane. I'd be so sad to leave her. We all also have been talking a lot lately about the Nikki, Ashley, Phyllis triumvirate and whether or not it's a good look on these three ladies and does it go too far. And I thought this was a good counterpoint from Dolores, who says, I love the three ladies keeping up the temperature and determination to get at Diane. Yes, it's getting a little old, but it's important for me, a recent viewer of the soap, to see why Diane is not to be trusted or believed totally. She, Diane, has not come entirely clean, in my opinion. So she will again need to unburden herself again, running to Jack and or Kyle, clutching her pearls with another final truth, especially if the mystery guy finds and contacts her. I love that Y&R's brought Diane back, but her past in Genoa City shouldn't be erased so easily, even though no one is free from being bad and then forgiven and or forgotten. Well, almost everyone gets a past forgiven, except Adam. Oh, that's interesting, because that's a perspective from a newer viewer, too, that you need the emotion and the exposition to be there from Ashley and Phyllis and Nikki in order to give you the sense of who Diane is. That's true, because that's a dang good point too, because when you've been watching for 40, 50 years or whatever since Susan Walters, or since the character of Diane was introduced, I mean, her list of dirty laundry, you kind of take it for granted. But I guess some of us old timers also have to remember that the story is also being written to help to inform the viewer who may just have picked up now, who may just have started watching the show. We don't want those guys to get lost. We want them to get hooked, not lost. And I'll end on this comment from Diana, who says, did anyone know that the actress who plays Talia Morgan really is an investigative reporter? I was watching Dateline the other day, and she was the reporter on the show. I thought her voice sounded like a real reporter. She doesn't speak quite the same in real life as she does on the show. She definitely puts on more of a reporter voice on the show, but I thought she did a good job and enjoyed her on the show for that short period of time. Someone else, maybe it was Gary someone mentioned that she was on like The Talk or The View or something too. Is that wrong or is that right? But Dateline, I did not know that. And I can see it. That makes complete sense to me. I think that's one thing that never got explained to me. I think there's a tongue-in-cheek, we've got this Talia Morgan reporter character, but a tongue-in-cheek reference to the fact that the actress actually is a reporter. Well, I didn't get that because I don't happen to watch either of those two shows, although I used to watch Dateline. I used to watch Dateline every Friday night, but I had to stop when I became pregnant with my daughter, because every time I would watch a Dateline episode, it felt like it was about some young mother who went for a walk and then she disappeared forever. And I just thought, I have got to stop this because it's getting in my head and making me too scared. But what would be really interesting if Sharad's theory was true, and one of the three women actually ended up trying to kill Diane for real this time, and Talia Morgan did a Dateline episode on it. Okay, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this short week of Y&R. I hope you enjoyed this Y&R chat. I hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving. And I hope you go to yrchat.com to leave your comments now and in the upcoming week. It should be a good one. I saw that little preview where Victor is saying to Chance, well, what did you do to my daughter? And I'm really looking forward to seeing Chance say, it's not what I did to your daughter, it's what your daughter did to Devon. I know Chance well enough to know he's not going to say that, but I still think that's going to be a really fun confrontation to look forward to next week. And I will be back next Sunday to chat all about it. Okay, everybody have a good one. I love ya. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.